Recep Tayyip Erdogan oversaw the start of what he calls Operation Peace Spring. It's an offensive made possible by Washington's decision to clear the way by withdrawing US troops.
We were put into this battle, interjected. It was supposed to be a 30-day period, and we've been there for many, many years. And it's time to get out. We're speaking to both sides. We've told President Erdogan how we feel, but we are speaking to both sides, and we're seeing what can be made out of a situation.
Both the US and Turkey belong to NATO. It's urging caution.
I count on Turkey to act with restraint and ensure that any action it may take in northern Syria is proportionate and measured.
I guess we'll stop it right there for a moment. I know this is not very professional. In fact, it's quite amateurish what I'm doing. I'm just going to add my thoughts into this, if I may. I see considerably more coming out of this conflict than is currently seen by most people. As was just explained very briefly, the US withdrew a very small number of troops, about 100 troops or so from northern Syria, basically giving Turkey a free go at invading northern Syria. Now, they didn't, I hasten to add that they didn't actually say that. So you had President Trump didn't actually say, yeah, you go in and you bash the Kurds. They were our allies against ISIS, but bash them up anyway. But some of the things he said kind of gives you a thought that there's not really right. But anyway, what I see happening here is quite a lot more. In other words, they've already got 100,000 people on the run, let's say, in that northern Syria area towards, I guess, southern Syria more so, Damascus in other words. And the Turkish president has threatened to send over 3 million people into Europe and other places, I guess, as refugees. Now, that's not the end of it. Now, looking at the Australian perspective, there are about, I think, like 60 Australian women in those camps and all their children with them. These are not innocent people, by the way. Most went over to fight or be with their boyfriends and husbands, and they produced children along the way, thinking that they were going to be victorious in their fight again in Iraq and of course in Syria, and they were wrong. And the Kurds were largely responsible for defeating ISIS, and they lost over 10,000 people while they were doing so. But I would put it to you that there's much more to come, in other words. Now, I would never be surprised if this camp of, I think there was 60,000 people in the one camp, and they're talking about ISIS people in jail might get out and reform. I don't think so. I think that the Turks, will, who of course would never announce this, would never admit to it, but they would probably kill those people, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got the Australians and the other nationalities and booted them out of northern Syria, which they're probably in the process of doing right now. Not only booted them out, but bulldozed the entire camps and basically kill anyone that gets in the way. Now, many people hearing this would think that that's rather extreme. Well, so be it, but I think that that's what they'll do. Now, worse is to come. Now, I'm going to illustrate the point that we've got family and friends that are thinking about travelling or internationally next year, and they're going to go to Europe and whatever else, and they're attending the World Travel Expo today, for example. I won't name them, but they had better get not only travel insurance, but they better get the extra travel insurance covering war that does cost more money. Otherwise, they'll find that they'll lose their airline tickets and their holidays and everything else, and that'll be the end of it. But where can it go from here? Well, I've discussed some of this in the past. I talked about what could happen if the United States fights China, and I don't want to go over the whole thing again, but suffice to say, though, that life in Australia would change completely. You can forget international travel, forget international trade. Everything we send to China would be stopped, that is to say, iron ore, gas, coal, and so forth, and all the Chinese goods that we get wouldn't come in, and therefore a lot of changes would occur, and I have actually mentioned some of that in the past. But now I'm going to leave it at that for now, but I just thought I'd add my comments in about the current situation.